Welcome to a Parisian-style kitchen makeover. In today's video, I am actually going to help my friend redo her kitchen with minor improvements that will just hopefully make the space more pleasant and just nicer to use. Since the kitchen is the heart of the home, I feel like spending a little bit of time and energy is just going to make such an improvement on your living, on your cooking, and feeling good at home. This kitchen already has a pretty good base and just a very charming decoration. We are looking into tweaking and doing some minor adjustments to hopefully make the space more pleasant, more beautiful. I actually helped my friend a few months back to make a few updates in her space, and now we're back again to finish and complete the updates. This would be pre-big renovation, I would say. We just want to keep as many of the existing elements as we can. I find it very exciting and way more realistic than giant updates. So I am going to show you everything that was already made, and then we're gonna do 2 or 3 final big updates today. So come with me and let me show you the space. You'll notice everything is small here. You've got small appliances, just a small space to work with. This is the amount of space there is in the kitchen, and pardon my appearance, but since we're gonna do some DIY today, I just needed to be comfortable. This kitchen has a wood counter and underneath some appliances, but none of them are actually built in or attached to anything. When the kitchen was first worked on, the positioning of the appliances was actually not ideal. The washer dryer was missing, so that was added, but the main thing was that the fridge and the dishwasher were reversed, and after looking at the state of things, it just made so much more sense to swap the 2 appliances, and that was super easy since again they are not built in. Having the dishwasher leaning against this side made so much more sense, because now when you're in the kitchen working, unloading and loading the dishwasher, it just opens here, whereas before it would open down here literally in front of the sink, and you just didn't have room for anything. So that was not convenient at all. You know, the position of your appliances, not everyone is gonna be obsessed with optimizing spaces and making it so much more functional, but that little swap here made a world of a difference. So the fridge opens like so, which is totally fine. There's room to grab things, put them on the counter. It's a super tiny fridge, I know, and there is no proper freezer. The freezer would be inside, but for only one person, this works great. Having the washer dryer at the end here, so basically the entry of the kitchen to your left, makes also a lot of sense. Because that element is not part of the kitchen, right? But there's nowhere else in the apartment to put the washer dryer. There's no washer dryer closet, nothing like that. There is no room in the bathroom. So this is the place to store it. It's not that uncommon to have washer dryers in kitchens when it's such a small space, at least. So that's what we get here. And this unit is a combined washer dryer. So we just talked about how this kitchen was organized for the bottom portion, everything that's under the wooden counter. Let's now talk about the upper portion of the kitchen. Again, this space being so tiny, you have to be super mindful about how you organize. And this would be the burner for the heater. You've got 2 beautiful arches defining the kitchen and separating it from the rest of the living space in the apartment, and that is just so charming. The gas, I guess, cabinet here, and above just sort of an alcove where you can store your kitchen books and have them on display. A super cool detail here is we've got the matching knobs that were actually repositioned from the bathroom of this apartment back into the kitchen. I believe that's where those were originally, and it just blends in so nicely. One thing is to think about the open storage versus closed storage. Obviously, it makes sense to have all of the pretty things exposed on the open shelving. We've got some beautiful blue and off-white backsplash. The floor in the kitchen is a very typical floor from France called Tomette. It's a very, very dark red. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is original to the apartment. So we've got some red and some yellow with the counter. The counter is leaning towards yellow, so we've got some yellow tones and some cream and blue from the backsplash. So these are the colors of the kitchen. And here and there we've got some touches of silver as well, especially in the cabinets. In terms of color theory, even having some blue, yellow, and red. These are the primary colors, and so the trio of these three colors in design can actually also look really nice. So these would be the key elements of design of this kitchen, and we're just building from the existing style to make it even more charming and just leaning into this decor. It just made sense to select some dishware that would really blend in well with the kitchen when it was needed to buy some dishware for this new space. That way everything looks so intentional. There's no microwave in this kitchen, but this is an oven and a grill. And we also have a little toaster, a red toaster matching the floor of the kitchen. And even though this oven is not in the best condition, it still works really well, so that's what we have here. This little lamp was added on the first round of updates. Again, we thought a pop of yellow was going to be nice, just to make sure we had some yellow, red, and blue. So that's the color that was chosen for the lamp and some of the plates. We've got a giant, very professional coffee machine here that is actually used every single day, and a couple more small appliances that are used almost daily, so that's why they are out on the counter. As you can see up there, we've got three elements of decor. A box of biscuits from the south of France that brings some yellow and some red. A plant is always going to make a space look nicer. And we've got a red teapot. We also brought in this blue vase, and you've got some leftover wine because, well, Frenchness. On the first round of updates, the edge of the arch where the lamp was hanging was redone a little bit. So just a little bit of spackling just made it smoother, and so it looks a little nicer and more finished now. Both the walls on the outside of the kitchen here, this whole wall here, and the wall that has the open shelving were redone. Respackled. There was a very old water damage where the paint had cloaked a little bit. It was just a matter of, again, patching, spackling, priming, and painting. After the painting was redone, the shelves were actually repositioned to fit the plates and bowls and glasses nicely, especially these plates that we really wanted on display because they match the kitchen curtain so perfectly. The kitchen curtain was also one of the first updates made in the first round. I sewed this kitchen curtain for my friend. I mean, without the curtain, the kitchen looked so bad. You could see everything under the sink, really an area you never want to see. It's not everyone's taste to have fabric in a kitchen, especially under the sink, but I think it is so charming in this kitchen with all of the pre-existing elements. I thought that this curtain was a really good addition in terms of style, design. Obviously the blue and gray blends with the kitchen, so it was perfect. I actually had the fabric already. I think I found this sheet in a thrift store, brought it with me, and I think it just looks so nice. I'm so happy. I had to make so many different buttonholes, but I'm so glad I did. I think it finishes it really nicely. I tried with little clips and rings, but I really didn't like the effect. The fact that it stops at the top here is just so nice. It really hides everything you want it to hide. You can easily slide it to grab and pull out the little cart here that contains all of the cleaning equipment, the laundry and rags and things like that. So it's just so convenient. And to the left, you've got two giant bags for recycling. There's still more room in the back in the corner for a stool for your guests to sit comfortably, and just another sort of cart behind me. And so we only have one drawer in this kitchen, and this would be it. Very small, but again, you don't need that much if it's just one person. Underneath, you've got the compost bin that you can easily put on the counter whenever you're cooking, and just slide it here. When you're done, it's going to be protected from the sun, no problem. And underneath, the last bin for landfill or any trash that is not going to be recycled nor composted. And the trash is a blue can. For the closed cabinets, we've got pots and pans on the left side. It's actually the closest to the stove and the oven, and we've got the pantry on the right side. The main issue we found with the design of these cabinets is that it is see-through but not fully. And the issue is, since it's the only closed storage we've got, all of the non-aesthetically pleasing things have to be stored somewhere, and you can still see them through a little bit. We thought it just looked a little off, just didn't blend really well with the rest of the kitchen, just looked a little separated from the rest of the design. We decided to do a very simple upgrade. That is an upgrade you would have seen me do in my kitchen, where we used contact paper to redo the entire kitchen and transform the entire space. So that was a whole ordeal, but so worth it. Well, in this kitchen today, here for my friend, we're only gonna contact paper these three inserts here where the glass is, to sort of remove this effect and really have fully closed, non-visible storage. Now, can you guess what contact paper we chose to improve the design of this kitchen? This is it. It's a simple, solid color, an off-white cream color that matches the backsplash perfectly. It's the same shade, and it will really, I think, link the top cabinets with the backsplash and the rest of the kitchen that way. We just really wanted this cabinet to blend in and sort of almost disappear, and that's what this is gonna allow us to do. So first things first, let's put on the contact paper and then tackle the few other adjustments. Before adding contact paper, you really want to remove any greasy residue or any dust for the contact paper to adhere properly. One other reason why we want to cover these cabinets is because of the sun exposure. This is south facing. It is getting a lot of natural sunlight, which is absolutely wonderful when it comes to cooking and using the kitchen, but there's food behind the glass, and there's a concern that the food is just gonna get spoiled faster, and you know, a pantry is always gonna be just safer and last longer if it is protected from sun exposure. So that's also one great reason to add contact paper to these. So these are peel and stick, just like in my kitchen. I like this. But we are not going to cover the edges because we actually want to keep this touch of gray. It matches the hardware on the open shelving. It matches a few more elements in the kitchen. The sink is also gray. It's a stainless steel sink, and it's also going to make this easier. So I'm just going to measure the inserts for all three panels. I believe this one is wider and these two are the same. I'm gonna measure, cut to almost to size, just adding maybe half an inch to my measurements, and then go in with my X-Acto knife and cut the excess. Well, this is going to be very simple because there are lines already that you can use as a base, so that's super convenient. I screwed up in my measurements, of course. Well, one thing you need to know about me is that I really suck at algebra. Really good at geometry though, but anyway, I don't know how I screwed up. I literally measured 17 times. I think it's because the numbers on the grid were not starting from 0, or it's because I'm struggling with the feet, inches, and centimeters conversion. I don't know, but I screwed up. Luckily, I have a second roll that I am not going to return to the store that I'm going to use to cover my cabinets. But if I didn't screw up, I would only have needed one roll, which would have been nice. It's not too expensive though. I was really annoyed at myself actually for screwing up, but then I realized that no, I would not have had enough with just one roll. So that does make me feel a little better about myself, because either way, even if I didn't screw up in the first try, I would still have needed 2 rolls. You know, just wanted to share that with you. Too closely at the counter around the sink because it has some pretty bad water damage. In today's video, we are not gonna resand and redo the counter, but if you wanted to bring your updates to the next level, that would make such a huge difference. I wish we had the time and budget to sand down the entire counter, making it look so much nicer, just brand new, but we don't have the time and the money for it today. So instead, because we are focusing on function, we are going to update the faucet. And that's an update that I've already made in previous spaces as well. You'll find it in my previous videos. So it's a very simple thing to upgrade. The new faucet is way taller and you can move it around. It is a flexible faucet, which I didn't even know existed, and I can link one for you in the description. This is so low, it makes it really hard to do the dishes. Also, the base of the faucet is so far away from the edge that it actually hits too close to the edge. So the whole thing is just not working. It's not functional. This is my favorite tool, by the way. It is so convenient to have a headlamp for things like changing a faucet. You know, I'm not too sure if you're gonna be able to see anything, so I'm just gonna show you the 2 mandatory tools to disconnect the hot water hose and the cold water hose. So let's see, unscrewing would go like this and screwing would go like this. Double check. Yeah, it's going to be too tricky for me to show you, but that's what I'm gonna do now, and I'll just show you the new faucet. Moment of truth. Excellent. Ah, that's so awesome. Gloomy day again, huh? Pretty gloomy, but it's the next day. We are in the final stretch for this kitchen makeover or kitchen updates. We just have a few final touches before I can show you the complete space. In regards to yesterday's installation of my faucet, I finished pretty late, but basically I needed 2 wrenches, and this one is adjustable, this one is not. The size of this one was not compatible. So I had to get creative after looking around and checking all of the tools I had access to. This is the solution I came up with, and it worked really well. So I just want to share that with you. Just, you know, if you get stuck, there might be a creative way to make it work. If you're trying to install something or work on something, don't get discouraged. Look around and there might be something that will help you and you could achieve what you're trying to do. So instead of using a wrench like you were supposed to, I used this clamp and it actually worked really, really well and did the same motion. We're just finishing up with kitchen linens. We've got 2 really nice hand towels. Well, one will be a hand towel and the other a dish towel. We have a really nice print. They're both 100% cotton. It's obviously nicer in terms of durability and how much water it absorbs. A little tip for you, you can prep the fabric, the towels, for them to be stain resistant. What you need to do is to soak the towels for 24 hours with some white vinegar, and that bath will, well, it will get rid of all of the potential chemicals used during the production of the fabric, but also it will make it way more stain resistant. I don't really know the exact science behind it, but whenever there's a stain, it's not gonna attach to the fibers as much. So that's a little tip for you. So these were prepped and they were actually also ironed just because I wanted to look nice for the reveal. We're gonna hang these. I believe we're gonna add 2 hooks on the white corner here. It'll be nicer to have these towels hang next to the sink. We're gonna use command hooks for this. If you don't know command hooks, get yourself some. These are clear hooks. These are actually way more than what we need because we just need to hang, you know, towels. It's not heavy at all, but these are what we had. The convenient thing about these is that you can easily remove them without leaving any marks on the wall, and you don't need to do any holes, so that's really nice. So we're gonna install those over there. For the oven mitts, this is the set that was previously here. Yes, it is blue and matches the kitchen in a way, but the issue is that, well, this is polyester, and this should speak for itself. Because it's polyester, after the first use, it immediately melted, because it's not heat resistant. So that's really too bad, right? Another case of natural fibers being superior, in my opinion. If you get oven mitts that are not heat resistant, then what's the point, right? So we're gonna retire those, and it's sad because it was a gift. Instead of the polyester version, we got some brand new oven mitts. This set is here, 100% cotton, and inside it has a heat resistant layer that will also be easily wipeable. There was just a little label that said chef, but we didn't necessarily like this, so I removed the label and we're left with those. These hooks were already here. It's a good place to hang these because the oven is literally right next to it. Well, that's very nice. This little basket, it was a set of 2. We've got this one and the other one that holds all of the big utensils. Since there is only 1 drawer in this whole kitchen and it's a very, very small one, we needed the big utensils to be held on the counter. This basket holds the reusable grocery bags because the kitchen is right next to the entrance of the apartment. So it's a super convenient spot to just grab a grocery bag and go get your groceries. This here would be the second basket that has all of the utensils. It's right next to the stove. This little spoon rest here is really nice to have. These elements are the only thing just staying on the counter here on this side. The basket is attached to the wall with a little command hook here actually, so that way it's not gonna go anywhere. It's actually held by the handle. So we've got the cutting board, we've got the knives here as well, and it's convenient to have this on the counter. Don't look too closely at the butcher block counter, again, because it is damaged. These are used daily, but we don't want to leave them out because it's not a pretty thing to look at. And we have this cart here for all of the cleaning supplies. It would make sense, I think, to add a little hook for the gloves to just hang here for them to be able to dry. So we've got a clear command hook, and this that was actually bought for the curtain. The little step stool that is super convenient to grab something up high goes here, out of the way. We're now on the other side of the kitchen, and these tools were already here, but there was an issue with the height. This counter is not your typical counter height. It's actually a bit too high. So we actually got 2 cushions, a beautiful shade of yellow matching the little lamp that was added and the plates. So really we're just, you know, tying everything together with an accessory that is also serving the purpose of elevating the stools to be sitting at the proper height on this counter. You can have 2 people on this side and 2 people on the kitchen side, and that makes a very cute little table. That's a nice setup. This space is just so lovely and so adorable now. It is way more functional. You know, sometimes you don't need to go crazy to really improve a space. That's what I did today here for my friend, and she is really happy with the result. I am gonna have more videos like this one where I help my friends just tackle the few things that they've been pushing for so long to just take their living spaces to the next level. Stay tuned for more content around home improvement, home decor, house updates, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. I really hope this one made you feel good and inspired the same way I actually felt when I finished these updates for my friend. This is the kind of thing that I really love doing, and I know I'm not the only one. I would love for you to comment and tell me whether you're gonna tackle your own updates, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye guys!